The signatures are there to put it on the ballot come November. In Ohio, they gathered enough signatures to put the federal health care law on the ballot on a referendum. Can Ohio opt out? Republican Tom Niehaus, president of the Ohio Senate. Sir, good morning to you back there in the Buckeye State. Thank you for your time.
Quite all right, Bill. Good morning to you.
Why is this important in Ohio come November?
Well, as you know, Ohio has always been a bellwether state in terms of indicating how voters feel about what's happening in their country. And obviously, we have many voters who are upset about being told that they must buy health care insurance. And in fact, if they don't buy health care insurance, that they could be fined. So this is an important measure that voters have chosen to put on the ballot, and they'll have a chance to voice their opinion in November.
What I read is that there might be a court challenge even before you get to November. I don't know if that's the case or not, but critics contend even if it does pass, state law will not trump federal law here. Are they right?
Well, that's true, but again, I think it's important that voters have an opportunity to tell their elected officials in Washington, and in particular the President of the United States, how they feel about some of his initiatives. He overreached, he went too far, and I think we're going to find in November that the voters in Ohio are going to say, let's step back and let's take a look at this, Mr. President. We think you've gone too far.
Well, there is another significant referendum in November. Your state has two of them. One is on health care, and the other is the challenge to unions and collective bargaining. And the results of both of these votes could have national implications. Now, the second bill is called Senate Bill 5, which challenges the collective bargaining rights of the union workers, hundreds of thousands in Ohio. That passed. It was signed into law, but that will be on the ballot, too. Now, those who are against Senate Bill 5, they've collected 900,000 signatures. They only needed 231. Will this survive?
I believe it will survive. And it's important to note that Ohio's law will be a bellwether for the rest of the country. And what we do is we do not eliminate collective bargaining. We do reform collective bargaining. And I'm convinced that once voters have an opportunity to look at the facts and understand what Senate Bill 5 does, they will look at this and say, these are reasonable reforms. These are things that those of us in the private sector live with every day. So they're not going to understand what all the fuss is about. So I'm anxious for it to go to the ballot and have voters weigh in on this issue as well.
But, there's a poll out there that 56 to 32% in Ohio favor repeal. And, there will be millions of outside dollars outside of Ohio spent on that very issue. Can you beat them?
Yes, we can. And it's important to note that with the poll that, for the most part, the only information that most voters have been getting about Senate Bill 5 has been the misinformation that's been created by the unions. They're trying to protect their interest. But we have a plan in place to get the facts out to the voters. And one of the reasons that Ohio is such a good bellwether state for the rest of the country is that, given the facts, you're going to find that Ohio voters are going to make the right decision. And so I'm confident that as they get the information, and in fact, we know from some of the polling that we've done, when they're given the facts about what Senate Bill 5 does, the numbers swing in our favor. And so I'm looking forward to a spirited campaign. And yes, we will win in November.
It's going to be the centerpiece come from November with both of these referendums. In the short time I have left, was the health care referendum pushed to counter the union referendum that you knew would be on the ballot already? Sort of balance them out and bring out your supporters against health care.
Yeah, I can't speak to that, Bill, because I was not involved in the effort to put the health care referendum on the ballot. I was involved in Senate Bill 5 and the collective bargaining reforms, and that's because we needed to make changes in the state of Ohio. We could no longer keep doing business as usual. So I can speak to Senate Bill 5, but I can't speak to the health care referendum simply because, we did not initiate that in the Senate. That was a voter-initiated a petition. And so that's why it's important for the voters to have a chance to weigh in November.
About 3.5 months now before the vote. We'll be watching both of these referendums very closely. Tom Niehaus, thank you for your time out of